Hey there, Miss White here, and today I want to talk about something that has I've been thinking about for a while now, and it has to do with friendships, and more specifically, why I don't feel comfortable around a lot of people. Um, so, what I've realized is that for the longest time, I thought I didn't have friends, but what I realized is that I have friends, but I just don't have many people that I feel comfortable about telling issues to, or like having someone I feel I can talk about something I'm excited with. And I realized that the reason for that is that for the longest time, I felt like people weren't necessarily interested in me. And because of that, I felt like I had to act a specific way. And every time I didn't act that specific way, I felt like people hated me. And that carried all the way to university. And even when I hang out with a lot of people, I realized that I was always trying to act a certain way or carry myself a certain way to the point where I don't think a lot of people realized what kind of a person I was, because they're seeing what I thought they wanted to see and not necessarily who I was. So overall, it got to a point where I think I just stopped interacting with people because I was always scared of having the mask drop or people seeing who I actually was. Like, that it and that if they saw that side of me, that they would absolutely hate me and that they wouldn't want to be friends with me. And because of that, I just couldn't bear to bring myself to be in like relationships, whether it is as a friend or even dating, because I was very hard on myself and I had a very negative outlook on myself. And I believe that that negative outlook that I had of myself was what others had. So, in a sense, I basically predicted that, oh, I hate myself, so that means everyone hates me. And of course, that's not the case. Of course, people wanted to be friends with me because they actually genuinely liked me. But in my head, I was always like, no, they're probably just acting. They're being super. They just don't want to hurt my feelings. And yeah, I know I'm like not the most emotionally stable guy out there, but just because I'm not emotionally stable doesn't mean that people hate that. And because of that, I realized that every time I tried to interact with people, I tried to interact with them on what I'd consider their level. And I think two, two reasons of that. A reason because of that is, I guess it's down to expectation. What I've realized is that there are two types of expectations: internal expectations, like what expectations I have of myself and where I think I should be, and then the external expectations, where the expectations others, such as teachers and parents and family, friends, and friends, those are the type of expectations they have of you. But there was an expectation I never fully dealt with, and that is implied expectation. And what implied expectation is this is what I thought others expected of me. And because of that implied expectation, I was too scared to do anything that would break that implied expectation. So, I'd rather disappoint myself essentially than disappoint others, because at the end of the day, I do have a bit of attachment issue, and because of that, I'm always of the expectation that if people knew who I am, or knew or like, if people got to know the real me, they'll probably not want to be around me anymore. And as I've grown older, I mean, I just recently turned 29. I actually turned 29 2 years ago, 2 days ago, not 2 years ago, 2 years, 2 days ago. I think that's what hit me the hardest. I think it's not necessarily that I'm getting older and I've not necessarily done anything of note, or that I'm not where I should be at 29 years. I think what hurts me the most is that I don't seem to be acknowledged, and that acknowledgement is, I think, why I am so hesitant to get close to people. Because if I open up to someone, or I've created a bond with people, and it gets to a point where I feel like I'm just another person in their life, like, I feel like I'm trying my hardest to help them. I'm trying my hardest to, you know, get them to like me. But at the end of the day, it's just nothing seems to be working. It actually hurts me more than if that person outright just said they didn't like me. And f- I think for me, I'd rather not end up in a situation where I'm fighting to put up a mask. I'm fighting to pretend like everything is okay. I'm fighting to pretend like, oh, things that have happened in the past, things that have been said to me aren't really affecting me. And it ultimately just gets thrown back in my face, uh, because it's they be someone believes that it's kind of what is expected, like I should know better. And the more I've interacted with people over the years, the more I've realized that it's tricky to know who you believe, who it's tricky to know who to put your trust in, because ultimately that trust can be broken. And when it gets broken, if you've tried your hardest to make sure that everything, like, you've tried your hardest to make the other person happy, that you feel like you've wasted your time, and more importantly, you've wasted their time. And I think for me, that is why I struggle to create meaningful bonds, because at the end of the day, I don't want to feel like I've wasted someone else's time. I don't want to feel like I'm dragging someone else down. And it's that knowledge, that it's that perception that I'm actively dragging someone else, like I'm actively making someone else's life worse, is why I struggle to make meaningful bonds, and why I struggle to, you know, to be comfortable around others, because at the end of the day, I don't know if I'm just being a burden. I don't know whether someone actually wants me around. And because I don't know that, I think I've defaulted to thinking that they don't. So yeah, that's kind of my experience in terms of uh, why I struggle to feel comfortable around others. It's and kind of my thought process. Well, at least my understanding of why I don't do that. If if you've gone through something similar, feel free to share, and we'll talk next time. Bye.